As we join Desmond Lynham for Match of the Day.
If ever a team needed to win the Cup, it's Tottenham Hotspur. And as it's 1991, perhaps it is their year. In 1901, they won the Cup. They were a Southern League team at the time. In 1921, they did it again. One goal beat Wolves, the match at Stamford Bridge. 1951, and Arthur Rowe's famous push and run side didn't win the Cup, but it was another great year. They won the league. In 1961, the glory year, as Spurs became the first English team of the century to complete the Cup and League double.
Dyson back there calling for it. Smith, he took that magnificently. A great goal.
In 1971, Spurs were back at Wembley. This time they took the League Cup. 2 goals from Martin Chivers beat Aston Villa. 1981, the Centenary Cup final. It went to a replay before Spurs won again. Manchester City, the victims of one of the greatest of all cup final goals.
Still Ricky Villa! What a fantastic run! He scored! Amazing goal! By Ricky Villa!
And in 1991, most of what Spurs achieve revolves around this man, and the good news for them, and probably for you, is that Gascoigne plays. Good afternoon from White Hart Lane. Spurs against Notts County for a place in the last 4. Jim and Bob with us, as you can see. And Jim, bearing in mind all their problems off the field, a defeat unthinkable for Spurs this afternoon.
Yes, it is. A good result's good at any time, but particularly today for Spurs. But I was reading Gary Lineker this morning saying that if only they had 2 players or the money to buy 2 players, then they'd have the complete team. That's been said by football clubs, players, managers, supporters, as long as I can remember. We always need 2 more players. But looking at the programme here, yeah, I see players that other people might envy, and I see a team good enough certainly to beat Notts County today, and then 1 more match and they're at Wembley and their dreams are beginning to come true. They're resilient, they won't die whatever happens, and I don't think they'll die this afternoon.
Neil Warnock said last night, Bob, Match of the Day, that they'll come and attack Spurs today. Do you think they'll do that?
He's a shrewd cookie, Neil is. He's led everybody to believe that they're normally suicidal at the back is his actual description of it, but I think he's had a careful think about it. I don't think he wants to be humiliated, so I think early on we're going to see Donna Reardon as a sweeper, certainly for the first 20 minutes or so, see how it goes.
Try and contain them.
Yeah, and the real key will be Paul Harding, the boy that Notts County bought from Barnet, who will be man-to-man, very much man-to-man, on Paul Gascoigne. And I think the success or failure of that will probably
depend on that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Jimmy. Let's see what happens as we join our match commentators Trevor Brooking and John Motson.
Thanks very much, Desmond. Good afternoon to everybody at home. And in North London this weekend, we've experienced, I think, the true flavour and genuine spirit of this great competition, the FA Cup. Supporters and players from clubs not always on the national stage, arriving on merit and really enjoying themselves. 3rd Division Cambridge, a case in point yesterday, a standing ovation from the Arsenal supporters for them at Highbury. And today, as the Spurs fans lift the volume at the start, it's the turn of the league's oldest club, Notts County, to sample this atmosphere. A year ago or more, they were just a routine third division side, but just look at them now. The Wembley experience of winning the playoffs, they could be there again this season. And it's, if you like, a team without stars, but one that, if it needs some introduction, is certainly very well integrated. Number 7, Dean Thomas, by the way, plays at left back. The two strikers are number 9, Kevin Bartlett, and number 10, Gary Lund, the man who scored the winner against Manchester City in the last round. And there are two names there already in Graham Taylor's notebook. Number 11, Mark Draper, and number 12, Tommy Johnson, have both been in the England under-21 squad. Well, I suppose compared to the star names in this lineup, these are more familiar, aren't they? The Tottenham team news, you've heard that Gascoigne plays despite his groin injury. Paul Stewart is playing, possibly up front with Gary Lineker, in which case Mitchell Thomas, wearing number 9, will have a midfield role alongside Gascoigne. The two fullbacks actually play the other way round normally, Vanden Hauwe on the right and Edinburgh on the left. Well, I wonder if Steve Cherry's performance can be repeated. He was unbeatable in that last match. Today he faces the record goal scorer among current England internationals, Gary Lineker, who this season for Spurs has scored 15, although he's still 2 behind Gascoigne in the Tottenham scoring list. Trevor Brookings with me in the commentary box. A quick word on kick-off, Trevor.
Well, I think Bob Wilson was quite right speaking to Neil Warnock. He didn't want to give Spurs players the boost of an early goal, and I think it will be fairly tight. And then, hopefully, once they settle down, they'll start to push forward, because they are a side that do like to put pressure on opposition defences.
Notts County having to change their strip today. They're playing in all blue. Neither club so far has required a replay, and Terry Venables just leaving the dressing room a shade late. Of course, he's figuring in stories of a consortium who may in fact end up buying Tottenham Hotspur, so there are all sorts of events going on here, on and off the field. Number 8 there is Turner for Notts County. Bartlett nearly made it, and Spurs break. It's Paul Allen, and here's Lineker. Stewart making a run across the penalty area now. Here he is. Harding straight in on Gascoigne. Number 11, Draper. 9. It'll be hectic and frantic at the start, there's no question about that. Free kick to Spurs. Waiting for Mabbutt to go forward. Mitchell Thomas on the edge of the area with his arm up. Gascoigne presumably to float it in. That was Thomas. The Spurs formation now clear. Thomas in midfield. Stewart up front with Lineker.
And Bob Wilson quite right with the sweeper. Don O'Riordan is playing the sweeper. Craig Short is marking Gary Lineker, and Dean Yates, there he is, tight behind Paul Stewart.
Came off Vanden Hauwe, and Mabbutt passed it back, and Torsbeck was quicker than Turner. He had to be. Turner was steaming in for Notts County. Forward by Edinburgh for Spurs. That's Yates' header. Stewart. Vanden Hauwe for Tottenham. Thomas.
One other interesting point from County's point of view is that Kevin Bartlett, who is a very pacey forward, playing on the left side of the attack, up against, sort of drifting towards Pat Vanden Hauwe on the right-hand side, and that might be a specific ploy. Neil Warnock might feel that his pace might catch Vanden Hauwe out.
Yes, but on the right-hand side of the attack, Turner, number 8, will push forward from midfield nearly all the time. This is Mabbutt. And that's a collision between Mark Draper and Pat Vanden Hauwe, and the Tottenham man is hurt. Draper was a bit high. Referee there is Peter Folkes from Clacton-on-Sea, just telling Draper to keep his feet down. question there that he followed through when the ball was gone. Stewart's header on, Lineker's in there, away from O'Riordan, but not from Yates. Harding to Short, number 4. Good flick on by Gary Lund, and Mabbott close to Bartlett. This is Van den Houw. Late challenge, yet on Lineker. Lund, Charlie Palmer. I saw something off the ball there. It was Charlie Palmer on Naim, and then Gascoigne remonstrated with him. This is a shot from Thomas. Hits the post. Torsvet was scrambling. Dean Thomas hit it well, but Torsvet seemed deceived by it.
Well, that was amazing. You could see Dean Thomas was going to have the shot, and you thought, well, he's a bit optimistic from there. Look at the distance, but it's one of those that bounces in front of the goalkeeper, skims off the surface, and it hit the outside of the post.
Well, 5 minutes gone when that happened. Torsvet never touched it. It was fortunate for him that it struck the post and went away. So Notts County provide the first major incident of the afternoon. Certainly this sweeper system with which Neil Warnock has started will give Thomas and Palmer, the 2 nominal fullbacks, the chance to link up with the attack, which is exactly what Thomas did then. Here's Palmer. Draper. And Notts County in no way overawed by the occasion. Draper again. Gascoigne. Lund. Bartlett through the middle behind Gary Mabbott. That's the pace of Bartlett. Torsvet's in trouble again. Bartlett turns it in, Mabbott heads it out, and Spurs are rattled. They're really rattled back there, and it was the pace of Bartlett making the run at the right time. He got behind Mabbott and Sedgley, which was part of Notts County's plan.
Torsvet did well there because Bartlett just got a toe into it, but Torsvet pushed him wide and gave time for Gary Mabbott, I think it was, who got back to head it off as it was directed towards goal, but not the sort of start Spurs wanted.
Allen. Naim coming in from the left. It's still Paul Allen. He's going all the way. Allen shot. Well, I suppose there'll always be a love affair between Paul Allen and the FA Cup. Youngest man ever to play in the final when he was with West Ham. And here he is playing for Spurs and really opening up the Notts County defence here by himself.
Well, you can say that it's not quite started like a possible goalless draw. Plenty of action. Paul Allen, who of course I know from old West Ham days, not his strongest foot, the left, but he hit it quite well and set up the chance himself, and he's been in good form for Spurs recently.
There goes Naim, number 5. Stewart in the middle with Lineker. Here's Stewart. There's Naim. Tackled by O'Riordan, the spare man. Naim again. Edinburgh. Well, plenty to talk about here in the opening period, and much of it from Notts County. Lineker. Foul by O'Riordan, Waddle, free kick in fact the other way. John O'Riordan there in the back of the defence, 33 years of age, now does a bit of coaching as well. Very experienced fellow, he's been around to lots of clubs, an important influence on the way Notts County perform. Here's Bartlett, Turner, and that was Sedgley, but the referee had already seen the linesman's flag. These clubs have met in cup competitions in recent years. There was a 1-1 draw at Meadow Lane in the FA Cup about 5 years ago. Spurs won the replay here. And then in the Littlewoods Cup 2 years ago, Spurs won over 2 legs. Here's Allen. This is Van den Hauwe. It's a bit long for Lineker. Stays in play, Charlie Palmer. Gascoigne being held there. Free kick. It was the first challenge that was penalised. Harding. Staying close to Gascoigne as we expected, but it's, what, 25 yards and could curl this. And Steve Cherry knew what to expect. Very safe.
Did well, Steve Cherry, because he was lining up the wall, and Paul Gascoigne saw him the other side of the goal and thought he'd try and take a quick sneaker into the other corner, but he read it well and comfortably got behind the shot.
That was Stedgley with Gary Lund, and again Draper, and again Thorsvedt having to come out. It was number 8 Phil Turner who made the forward run, the captain. Draper. 10 minutes gone at White Hart Lane. Spurs 0, Notts County 0 in the quarter-final of the FA Cup. And Naeem picks it up from Gascoigne, who gets it back. Harding gets in his way, free kick, handshake. Harding just being spoken to by the referee there, who wants to take the tension out of that early on. Man-to-man marking job by the number 3. Here's Gascoigne's kick. Too long for Gary Mabbott. Harding actually used to play down the road from here, if I'm not mistaken. I know he signed for Notts County from Barnet with Dave Regis, but before he was with Barnet, he played for Enfield, a ground only about 10 minutes down the A10 from Tottenham. So it's quite a step up in class for him. Harding. Paul Stewart. Thomas. Lund. Edinburgh to Gascoigne. O'Riordan. We saw those old pictures at the start at the 1901 Cup final. Never seen those before, I must say. A real find. But you have to go further back than that for Notts County. And here's a chance for Bartlett. Thorsvedt out. Flag was already up there, actually, so it wouldn't have mattered, because there was a Notts County player who was flagged offside. But in Notts County's history, if you go right back to 1894, you'll find that they have won the FA Cup. Spurs have won it 7 times. Harding. Thomas. And the free man is Turner again, who moves around well, number 8. He's got 2 waiting in the middle. Palmer's joining them now. And Lund coming in. Naeem. Gascoigne. Lineker moves towards him. Still Gascoigne. Lineker. Wide of him is Paul Allen. This is Thomas. Lineker. Thomas. No. Yates. Lineker. Cherry saves County. Allen. And Yates, the centre-half, again needs the goalkeeper's assistance. It's come out to Gascoigne. Vanden Houw. And Naeem on the far side will collect it. It didn't... Oh, it did. Well, he should have collected it. And I suppose also, Trevor, by his standards, Lineker should have scored.
I think we've got to give Cherry a bit of credit as well. I mean, it came from a tackle by Yates, and he dwelt a little bit after making the tackle, got caught in possession, and Gary Lineker, with his instinct, was following on, hit the shot low, but Cherry held up, spread himself, and rebounded off his legs. He could have perhaps tried to go round it, but it was an instinctive shot.
Yates again. Gascoigne, foul by Harding. Well, they'll do well to keep their cool, those two, today. It's going to be quite a contest.
They keep ruffling each other's hair, but there's not much to ruffle there.
It's a free kick for Spurs. Gascoigne has a look at the three-man wall. Naeem is alongside him. Gascoigne takes it too high. Do you think there's a case sometimes for putting a man on the line if a player's going to have a shot from there, or does that put the other? Is it not worth it because it would put the others on into an onside position?
I mean, it's always been something that teams have discussed, whether because you've got a goalkeeper who likes to cover one side and some players can have the ability to put it over a wall, whether it's worth putting a defender on the other side of the goal. It's something no one's ever tried in actual match situations, but on occasions you do think it might be worthwhile.
I only made that point, Trevor, because I actually saw it happen for the first time the other week. I think it was a game at Luton. A defensive team put a player on the post, but Kingsley Black still scored, so it's not infallible, is it?
Depends how tall the fella is on the line, I suppose. But if you hit the free kick perfect and it's in the angle, he's got to handball it anyway.
Still 0-0 here. O'Riordan. Edinburgh. Gascoigne to Naeem. It's Gascoigne again. Lineker. I think Gascoigne may have been tripped, but the referee played an advantage, which was fair enough. That's Sedgley. Draper in very well on Justin Edinburgh, and he kept the ball in, did Draper. And Bartley's in the middle, so is Turner. It's a bit long. But Notts County have not just come here to make up the numbers or defend or be overawed by Tottenham. They proved that in the opening period. And it was little Draper over on the right, who's only 20, who really made life difficult there for a young Tottenham player, Justin Edinburgh.
Neil Warnock emphasised his team is all about spirit and working for each other, and that was emphasised there by Mark Draper, who chased after a ball that a lot of players would have given up for going off for a throw-in.
This is Lineker. It's not now. Draper. A lot of pride at stake here today, not just for the players, but also very much for the fans of these two clubs, because with Arsenal having got through to the semi-final, Spurs fans desperate to match that, and the same with the Notts supporters, bearing in mind Forest are already in the last four. As a result of the two ties you may have seen on Match of the Day last night. Here's Harding. Stewart battling away. Thomas. Gascoigne taking up the left wing position, but not pleased with the pass. Thomas.
Although Paul Stewart started off for the first few minutes with Gary Lineker, he's dropped into a deeper position now, and Spurs are almost playing with 5 in midfield, and Paul Gascoigne is the nearer one to Gary Lineker, and perhaps trying to disrupt the 3 central defenders that Notts County have decided to play.
I think that's the general idea of that switch. They're trying to leave one of them with nobody to mark. Here's Thomas. That is Stewart, in fact, there, as you say. He's a lot deeper now. Mabbott. Long ball by Draper, looking for Bartlett. Was out. In fact, Gascoigne is now playing almost up alongside Lineker. Now, I do know also there was a bit of a fear in the Tottenham dressing room that Gascoigne might not last the game in view of this recurring problem. So if he starts to conserve a bit of energy, maybe that'll be explained by that. Here he is now. Lineker tries to shake off Craig Short, the number 4. It's cleared by Thomas. Stewart was in the right back position then.
See, Paul Harding has switched to Paul Stewart. He was doing the marking job on Paul Gascoigne, with Gascoigne pushing more up front. His swap roles, and in fact it's Dean Yates is going to pick up Gascoigne as he was before with Stewart.
Forward by Thomas. Yes, that's the switch in tactics, which has brought about little change on both sides. And after 20 minutes, the score in this 6th round FA Cup tie, coming to you live from Spurs ground in North London, is 0-0. Notts County having hit the post early in the game. Deep kick by Steve Cherry, Sedgley's header. For Stewart. Charlie Palmer. Bartlett. County fans packed very much at that left-hand end, and what a great day out it is for them. First Division club, of course, until 1984, and then they suffered 2 relegations in succession, but now on the way back up, they feel. Here's Draper. Harding. Palmer's well forward. Stewart. Sedgley a bit slow. It's Harding again. Palmer again. Bartlett. Mabbott's challenge. Half away. Turner hit it. The captain. Wasn't the tidiest piece of defending you'll ever see by Spurs, and it gave Notts County a chance to dig in a bit there. But here's Stewart. 3 others up with him. Lineker away by O'Riordan. Naim. Short. Harding. Draper. Bartlett to his right. Offside.
You're going to get a few offsides there. Kevin Bartlett telling Mark Draper, I've got to have it early, because Spurs hold them. They play very flat, and there are going to be occasions during 90 minutes where County will break that down, but there'll be others like that. If it's not released at the right time, the offside flag will go up.
This is Lund. Flags up there, for example. Kevin Bartlett, the number 9, is one of the fastest players in the Football League. He really has got exceptional pace, and they'll be trying to get him through at the right moment, as Trevor Brookings said, to beat the offside flag. Gascoigne. Thomas is opening up a bit here for Spurs. It's a ball played too wide of Lineker, really, by Thomas. Lineker, though, brings it back inside. Well, I think if Mitchell Thomas had weighted that pass rather better, he'd have put Gary Lineker into a very good position.
Well, he's jogging back there, but Gary Lineker, a rueful smile, would know that he had a clear opening there. And Mitchell Thomas, of course, in the midfield area, apologising, I think, to Gary Lineker,
because normally he is a fullback or a defender, and that was a heavy touch, because great layoff by Paul Gascoigne, and there was a super chance to just lay Gary Lineker in, and it had a clear opening.
Here's Harding. There's 20 minutes left in the first half here at White Hart Lane. No score, Notts County holding their own here against Tottenham, and also coming forward at times quite effectively. Here's Stewart. Lineker being closely marked this time by Short. Van den Hauw. Mitchell Thomas. Lineker to his left, and Gascoigne here. Now it's Edinburgh. Naeem. Gascoigne. Van den Hauw.
Not the best of shots. And if you look at the game up to now, the spare men for Spurs are Edinburgh and Van den Hauw, and they are the people that have to try and get forward to bring out the extra defender that Notts County have. And at the moment, neither of them are that keen when they get in those forward positions, and so that might be some concern for Terry Venables and Spurs if the game progresses, because at the moment, of course, there he is, a bit pensive. He would have liked to have seen a goal on the scoreboard already, and now a bit frustrated. And the game gone a bit flat, and from Notts County's point of view, quite happy, I should think.
The player injured is Charlie Palmer, who Watford fans might remember. He played in Europe under Graham Taylor at Watford a few years ago. Moved on to Derby and then Hull City. And the Notts County physio, David Wilson, there, just getting Palmer back to his feet. And Neil Warnock on the bench is just getting Alan Paris prepared in case. Neil Warnock, who was very keen to know how far away from the pitch the touchline bench was here at Tottenham when I spoke to him last week, because he does believe in getting instructions across as and when he can, as most managers and coaches do. It's a bit further away here than at Meadow Lane, I fancy. Good tackle, is it? Well, apparently not. Short on Lineker.
That wasn't a good tackle, no. It was a good tackle once you got, he'd kicked Gary Lineker's leg out of the way to get to it. One of those just coming through from behind, a definite free kick.
Well, as usual, Lineker just gave it a rueful glance, and Stewart takes the free kick. Harding. Lineker still feeling the effects of that challenge by Short. And Steve Cherry wanting Gascoigne to retreat the 10 yards. Oh, and here's Gary Lund. Only plays really in cut ties because he's been on the transfer list and can't displace David Regis from the league team. But after scoring the winner against Manchester City, he was hunting for a goal again there.
Another example, though, how just a head-on like that can catch out the Spurs defence. It does hold its line so flat that somebody like Lund did get a couple of yards of space to get a shot on.
Well, now he's found Bartlett. And he's taking on Edinburgh. Across goes Sedgley. Naeem. Free kick. Short. Thomas. And Draper working hard for Notts County, and then the linesman's flag catching Bartlett. Linesman on this side of the pitch, Jeff Cox from Somerset. On the far side, with the red trim, Don Morgan from Westbury. And in the middle, Peter Folkes has his arm up as the free kick is taken. And it's flicked on for Lineker here. Lineker trying to find Edinburgh, and it's given Bartlett and Draper the chance to exchange passes, and Notts County are away, with Turner on the near side to us making a great run, but it's still Bartlett against Sedgley. And the ricochet off Sedgley went conveniently for Tottenham to Thomas. This is Stewart. Half an hour gone in the first half, and now Notts County back in possession, and that must be offside. So half an hour played in this sixth round tie. Thomas. O'Riordan. Lund. Yates. Offside again. There's a danger, I suppose, that the flow of the game now is going to be disrupted by the offsides. Stewart. Lineker. Bit of a mix-up there in the Notts County defence, but player on the ground was pushed over by Paul Allen, and indeed there was a collision earlier involving Lineker, so both physios would come on. So what do you make of this opening half hour, Trevor?
Well, I thought the first 10 or 15 minutes were very exciting. County started well and hit the post, and there were a couple of skirmishes, and now what the next quarter have now been a bit flat. Game's got a bit scrappy, offside decisions, particularly Notts County. Bartlett up front with his pace, not quite timing his runs, the same as Turner, too many offside, but that hasn't helped Spurs either, who at the moment with just Lineker up there, I feel aren't getting the numbers forward to trouble County either. And if it goes through the half-time and the switch around and still scoreless, then of course Paul Walsh, who is on the bench, would have to be brought on as the extra attacker, because Spurs would need to, I'm sure, to feel that they need to get a result today rather than go. And there he is. He's been out a while with an ankle injury, past fit, and I'm sure would be keen to get on, and has done very well coming on in a number of games this season as substitute.
Well, the wounded men are back on their feet, and the ball is given back in the usual sporting spirit to the defending side. It's Turner, here's Mabbott, Gascoigne, Draper, good skill by Draper. There are two of them round Gascoigne there. This is Yates. Well played. Lund. And Notts County certainly settled into their stride early in this match, rising to the occasion rather than being second to it. Here's Draper. Big opportunity, of course, for the players individually to get noticed. And their supporters giving them considerable backing here, County. It's Palmer's throw. This is Thomas with the shot.
Bit impetuous, that shot. I know he hit the post earlier, but out wide Bartlett was in a much better position, and they had a 2 against 1, and I think he had a few words of wisdom from Bartlett to Thomas just to tell him to steady down.
There's Naim. Harding for Notts County. Now Draper. Looks a good player on the board, the number 11, I must say. Here's Turner. O'Riordan. Sedgley's given it away. Turner again. But the crosses, that goes for both sides so far, disappointing. They've been a bit overhit, really, haven't they?
Well, the last few minutes it's been a case of getting possession and giving it to the opposition, and it just shows the anxiety of Spurs. I think there's so much depending on them getting through this tie that everyone's been very hurried and rushed when they're in possession, whereas a side normally confident, and let's be fair, they are first division against second division. At the moment, you couldn't tell the difference.
That's a fair comment. Here's Van den Houw. And that's a foul by Gascoigne, who seems to feel that the player who's gone down is overreacting. And the way he tried to pull him back up, it was Yates. Dean Yates. And the referee tends to agree because he sent the trainer back. Thomas on Allen in front of the linesman. So with 9 minutes left in the first half, it remains Tottenham Hotspur 0, Notts County 0. The FA Cup 6th round. Playing for a place in the semi-finals, the draw to be made later today. Thomas with the header on. Lineker working hard behind the defence. Free kick with 8 minutes left in the first half. Nabbott's made his way forward on the far side. Cherry dives on the ball between Nabbott and Lineker. Keeps his goal intact.
Surprised you had Paul Stewart taking the free kick out wide. He's the arguably best header of the ball in the Spurs team, and you don't want him taking the free kicks when it's going into the penalty area.
O'Riordan. Van den Houw with Turner. They're appealing for handball. It's been given. Now Sedgley bundled into Turner when the whistle had already gone. So there was a word to him from the referee, but it was hands by the Notts County skipper. Header on there was by Turner. Forward by Sedgley. Allen chasing, offside flag up, as they are now quite frequently on both sides of the field. The song you can hear from the Notts County supporters, believe it or not, is the wheelbarrow song. And there's Turner. And Palmer's well forward, and Turner goes in again with Torsford, who's dropped it, but there was a foul. Well, the wheel nearly came off for Tottenham there in that scramble, but in the end it's a free kick for Erik Torsford. And Turner's the first man to go in there, number 8. Charlie Palmer joining the attack from fullback with the header back in, and then use of the arm by Turner on the goalkeeper.
Charlie Palmer's header was too high when he knocked it back in, and an easy one for Torsford to take, really.
Lund. Turner takes on Edinburgh. Looks at the referee, who says goal kick. Thomas. 5 minutes to go in the first half here. It's 0-0, but Notts County attacking with Bartlett. And Bartlett finds a way behind Sedgley. The tackle put him down, but the referee says that the ball was played and has given Notts County a corner.
Kevin Bartlett should have done better there. He was clear. His first touch took him far too wide and enabled the tackle to be made. He should have been clear of the defence.
It was certainly a promising break by Notts County, and Terry Venables looks concerned, as well the Tottenham bench might. The danger's not over yet. Yates and Short are both forward for the corner. Gascoigne's lost it on the edge of the area. O'Riordan, what a shot! What a fantastic goal! Don O'Riordan has hit that out of nothing. And to say the danger wasn't over is an understatement. Just look at the way it flew in. And Notts County from the second division have the effrontery to take the lead at White Hart Lane, and who can deny them the right? It was a magnificent strike, Trevor Brooking.
Well, one of those shots that, as a player, as soon as it's left the boot, you know it's going in. Erik Torsford, no chances. There he is, reliving the moment, I'm sure. And there Neil Warnock, making sure that his side, I'm sure, don't concede a goal now. I know a couple of minutes leading up to half-time, and Terry Venables' face tells it all, doesn't it?
Well, two things to be said about that goal straight away. Paul Gascoigne has to take some responsibility for giving the ball away when Tottenham tried to clear the corner. It came back, and he will know that. It came back to O'Riordan, and Don O'Riordan, who's been around, what, 7, 8 professional clubs, but I remember was always a superb, sweet striker of the ball, and if that's not an evidence of it, I don't know what is.
It was another match of the day last night. We had a shot when Roy Keane's defenders closed him down, and it's gone through his legs, the shot. And on that occasion, Paul Allen went to close O'Riordan down, and when you see the replay, he's put his leg out to block it, and fortunately, probably for Paul Allen, it went clean through his legs without touching it.
Well, also, in the midst of all the mayhem, O'Riordan has... Terry Venables has got a lot to think about, but O'Riordan has a head injury, so the the headband is going on, and he'll be something of a wounded hero here, I think, as the first half draws to its close. But Neil Warnock, who's always said that O'Riordan's influence on the team is important defensively, perhaps wasn't quite expecting the 33-year-old to produce a moment exactly like that at White Hart Lane. It will go down as one of the great FA Cup strikes of the season, surely. But Lineker's in here. In fact, it was O'Riordan who he beat. And these are anxious times for Tottenham, my word. So much hinging on this game and on their future in the FA Cup and overall. And Notts County have, without doubt, put a spanner in the works. having acquitted themselves extremely well, it should be said, the second division side, right from the start. On by Lund. This is Bartlett. He's got Draper wide. Edinburgh's interception important. Yates. And it's Spurs who really want the whistle to come now. Notts County are buzzing.
Terry Venner was just in the last couple of minutes, has reverted back to the starting formation. There's Paul Stewart up front again and Paul Gascoigne dropping deeper, but still nothing quite working for it.
Gascoigne tries to hold off O'Riordan, and then Thomas comes in, and Spurs get the free kick. Well, Notts County would dearly love to go in a goal ahead, but they've got some defending to do first. The crowd getting behind Tottenham. Mabbott is in the thick of it there. And the diving header away by Thomas gives Spurs a corner. Going into time, being added on for stoppages at the end of the half. Still not really away. Gascoigne. It might be now. Harding. Well played by Notts. This is a good break. It's Turner with three others up. Right and left. This is Draper. Turner in space. Draper again. Two waiting in the centre still for Notts County. And the truth is, they didn't make the most of that. They had Tottenham outnumbered. Turner again. Thomas. Allen. Still Allen. Good dribble by the Tottenham man, and he's got the ball back from Lineker. Allen goes for the deft chip and can't finish it.
Second run from Paul Allen, but his first 45 minutes, Naim and Paul Allen have hardly been able to get into the game. And I think, as I said, Edinburgh and Vandenhout, they can push forward. They'll help the two wide men, because at the moment, two fullbacks, Palmer and Thomas, are pushed in and marking them, and they're unable to get any service or support from the back. And really, Spurs have had to defend for most of these 45 minutes without getting sufficient numbers up there.
And here goes Turner, but he's offside. Pass to him was by Gary Lund. So Sedgley with the free kick. There's Mabbott. Allen. Still Allen, but this time his finishing does lack any steadiness at all. And it might well be that Paul Allen's goal-scoring record reflects that. Only one goal this season. And at half-time at White Hart Lane, Notts County from the second division lead 1-0. They took the game to Tottenham when they could. They absorbed what Tottenham offered at the other end, and then, 4 minutes before half-time, a fabulous shot by one of the game's really experienced professionals, now wearing the headband, Don O'Riordan, gave the second division team a shock lead and left Gascoigne and Tottenham shaking their heads as they go off at half-time. I understand that the first man to speak to Neil Warnock as he came off is our own Ray Stubbs.
Neil, congratulations. What a great first half here. It's a great first half, but we've done nothing yet. We've got another 45 minutes and we've got to get his mind switched on again. OK, thanks.
wouldn't mind him being that brief under the circumstances. Well, I hope you think it's right that it's worth tuning in today just for the quality of that goal, Jimmy, and we may have an upset here.
It was a superb goal, and it may be an upset, as you say. I mean, Bob said if County are 0-0 at half-time, I fancy they're going to win. Now, what about them being 1-0 up? I mean, it's almost over, isn't it? Except it isn't, of course, as we know.
Yeah,
a goal on a Sunday is a very nice thing for us to see.
They deserve to be ahead, don't they?
Definitely. Yeah. I think there's no doubt about it. I think they've posed more problems for Tottenham, and it's been surprising that Tottenham really have not been able to counter the simple things that Notts County have done, particularly Paul Gascoigne. It is such a waste of a great
They haven't really
player.
done a man-to-man job on him, have they?
Well, they did initially,
yeah.
Des. They did it initially, and then what happened then, Terry Venables then pushed him up the front, and quite rightly, Neil Warnock then said to Harding, leave him, go with Stewart, which Harding did, and it was pointed out like that. Now, Paul Gascoigne's wandering around wondering, what am I going to do next? The injury, how much that's to do with it, I don't know.
I have to say, if I had a groin injury or an injury of any kind, I wouldn't want to play against Notts County today. Yeah, I mean, they are a hard, determined side, and if you have a suspect, joint some kind...
Gascoigne is Gascoigne, though,
yeah,
isn't
but pain diminishes performance anyway, doesn't it?
Well, the thought of making the injury worse, it makes it hard for him to start. But a player of his calibre, when he's an asset, he's a wonderful asset. When he's off, he's a liability.
Well,
and that
he
is
still
the
had
trouble.
a few good touches here today.
Yeah,
which
but he
have been
still
worth
lost
seeing.
the ball outside his area, as we shall see in a moment.
Well, it was taken away from him. Let's have a look.
I think he was trying to beat the man on the edge of his own area, but we shall see
Let's
now.
have a look. Well, we'll get evidence of it exactly now.
There it is now. He's in control, and he tries to slip it round one side of him and get the other. Outside his own area, that's a danger, and my goodness, through the legs, as Trevor Brooking said, and you can't blame a goalkeeper for that. A wonderful, wonderful shot.
Painful as it went through the legs.
It is such a dangerous area to do what Paul was trying to do. You should be clearing that, hoofing it instead of touching it away. All credit to Paul Harding, who's back on the man-to-man marking, but that is truly unstoppable. And he knew, Donna Reardon here, this shows it beautifully, he knew straight away, that's it. Even before it's in.
Shot that gives goalkeeper nightmares.
You
wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
Give the man whose legs he went through a nightmare. I would have But there we are. Let's now pause here for a moment and pick up yesterday's matches in which, of course, Arsenal and Forest got through to the semi-final stage. Let's enjoy their goals again.
Highbury, North London, may be only an hour's coach ride from the Abbey Stadium, Cambridge. But how far apart are the top of the First Division and the upper reaches of the Third? Cambridge United in the yellow strip were in a mood to find out.
Well, the last time Arsenal reached the semi-finals was back in 1983 when they lost to Manchester United. Winterburn's cross. Oh, great goal! Campbell's glancing header, and it was just wide of John Vaughan. A really good cross by Nigel Winterburn. But what a perfectly glanced header this is by Kevin Campbell. The merest of touches, and it's right beyond the goalkeeper's fingers and in by the far post. And Campbell's third goal of the season has given Arsenal the lead. Dublin. All got there just before Taylor. Well, Taylor won that one though. Cheetham feels for handball. Still Cheetham. Cross for Dublin. He got a touch. Oh, it's in! Dion Dublin looped it over the top of David Seaman, and Cambridge have equalised. So David Seaman won't keep a clean sheet in this match. What a great cross by Cheetham, and what an unorthodox finish by Dion Dublin. Maybe that's what confused Seaman. Davis will take it. Adams. Bold, chipped up to the far post, Smith. Adams, it's 2-1 Arsenal. Now will they give that to Tony Adams? No doubt from his reaction that Tony Adams is claiming it. He might have had a shot earlier, and Bold chipped up to the far post to Smith. A good save from Vaughan, it wouldn't have gone in. Adams has scored his fourth of the season. Dixon with the throw. Put forward by Ledbetter. Oh, Taylor's gone around O'Leary, and O'Leary tried to pull him back. Taylor! Fine save, Seaman. Dublin! It was blocked by Adams, I think, and it's a corner.
2-1 to Arsenal. George Graham's first FA Cup semi-final as a manager, arriving with his team top of the First Division. But thoughts of the double haven't crossed his mind, he said.
Yeah, I think the media talk about it more than the people involved. We've got another 12 games to go in the league, 36 points. There's a lot of points to be won and lost. We're in the semi-final of the Cup. We're too professional to start sort of thinking in those terms.
But the destiny's in your own hands, isn't it?
Yeah, if we win every game, I think we've got a chance.
Norwich City versus Nottingham Forest at Carrow Road. It promised much, but it delivered a midfield stalemate. One goal seemed likely to be enough, and it was. Norwich are in yellow.
Goss. Phillips, all back by one for Forest. Hit long, Sherwood. Gordon! Best chance of the match. Long ball from Phillips. Sherwood got up, challenged by Charles. Down to Gordon, who pulled it across the face. Crosby. Gordon has done his defensive chore. Jemson, Keane, it's in. That's the first tie in which Nottingham Forest have been in front. Hoisted ball, there was a problem for Polston. Found Jemson difficult, Jemson shielded it, and Keane reacted instantly, and Gunn could only watch it go by.
And so, after 8 games and 4 postponements, Brian Clough remains on course for the cup he's never won.
So Arsenal through and Forest through, and at the moment it looks like the other Nottingham team going through as well. And we had 1 or 2 other interesting incidents in that first half, which perhaps we should have a look at. Now, I mean, early on, Bob, they hit the post.
Well, Notts County took the game to Tottenham does, really, and it's a wonderful shot from Dean Thomas from miles out, must be 30 yards. It just pops in front of Eric Torsford there. He doesn't get a touch, and it clips the post. And you know, you can say it's a speculative sort of shot, but early on the game, it's always worth having a try. We knew he was going to do it. He just wound himself up, left foot, off the ground, pops in front of Eric.
Had he got it covered, in your opinion, now?
Jimmy thought Eric had that covered.
I'm only being kind to goalkeepers, you know.
We count the posts in as part of our armoury anyway.
And Spurs haven't had that many chances, have they?
No.
Although Lineker did have
one cast-iron chance, and really seemingly fell to the right chap, Gary Lineker. Nobody better in these positions. Mitchell Thomas had worked very well to create the situation with a chance coming. He's the spare man, and he caused all those problems. Gary came in on the end of it there, took it just that little bit too hurriedly. You see, it's the fighting for the ball. Winning tackles set up chances. It's funny, you talk about good football, but the chance the other end came from a one tackle. That caused the problem. He was in so quickly on it and got it off the inside of his boot.
Cherry had an element of good fortune, to say the least, against Manchester City in the last round. A little bit there, do you think, or is that good goalkeeping?
You make your own luck as a goalkeeper. I mean, he's 1 against 1, Des. It's a big goal. It's 8 yards wide. Gary Lineker's there, the best striker England, well, one of the greatest strikers England ever had. You know, I mean, 9 times out of 10, he'd probably have stuck it away. He just threw his body as a big barrier and the ball hit it. But that's making your own luck.
Terry Venables always says that Gary Lineker scores so many goals because he shoots low. He doesn't lift it round the goalkeeper's hands.
That's a good point.
And I think the goalkeepers anticipate good players keeping the ball low. And did that. He spread himself as wide as he could and deserved the luck that he got. Although if Gary had hit it properly, it would have been in before he had a chance.
What will Spurs do now for the second half, Jim? Do you think Gascoigne will play on?
I can't help thinking. I mean, Spurs have not been good in that half. Notts County are not easy to play against, it's true, and they deserve their lead at the moment. But Spurs are not themselves in a way, and bringing on Walsh, I'm sure, up front, and maybe taking off Gaza, who is not 100% fit for me, would give them a better chance of getting back in this cup tie.
I think Mitchell Thomas could play a big part. He seems to be a free man for Tottenham, and he's looked quite dangerous because Stewart's being marked by the lad Harding if Gascoigne stays forward. Mitchell Thomas could play a big part, if only he would have the confidence to take it on himself.
We'll just have a look at that goal again, because it was a thoroughly enjoyable one to see.
Well, it was an issue of Paul Gascoigne, or his dad who was watching the match today, but it was such a lovely strike.
It's through the legs again. We saw a goal, didn't we? Nottingham Forest's goal. Nottingham Forest goal went through the legs of the attacking player and it went there, but it's unstoppable.
Every time Des sees that, he winces.
Let's enjoy the second half, then we'll find out whether Gascoigne's still playing in this half. John Martin.
Thanks very much, Des. Indeed he is. At the moment, Spurs have not made a change. Notts County just coming out to a big ovation. I know, Trevor Brooking, you've got a theory as to how Spurs might reorganise with or without Gascoigne. You think that Mitchell Thomas could always be switched to fullback?
Well, I think the way County are playing, you desperately need the fullbacks for Spurs going forward, and Justin Edinburgh and Pat Vandenhout aren't the best of attacking players, and Mitchell Thomas can play that role, and I would think Paul Walsh would come on as soon as, 10 or 15 minutes into the second half. If they don't score, Paul Stewart perhaps move into midfield, and then I'd switch Mitchell Thomas to one of the fullbacks, sort of push forward from there, because they've got to take a gamble then.
Well, I suppose the Spurs fans might be tempted to point out that they were 1-0 down at Portsmouth at half-time in the last round and came back to win 2-1. We'll see what happens today. O'Riordan has dispensed with the headband and is now protected by a plaster, but he'll remember that goal, I was going to say, for the rest of his career, in the nicest sense of the word. He's in the latter part of it, but the rest of his life, let's say, and rightly so. Harding. Here's Mabbutt for Spurs. Short. Up against Lineker and Allen. Here's Allen. Good work by Paul Allen. Gascoigne. Harding immediately to him, robs him, finds Draper. And Notts County, when they do dispossess Tottenham, break very quickly with 3 or 4 players. Draper there going for the return. Thomas. That's Dean Thomas, the left-back for Notts County. Not to be confused with Mitchell Thomas, who ran straight into him. Draper. And Charlie Palmer, the furthest player forward there for County. That's because of the sweeper system, allowing the fullbacks to have some freedom. O'Riordan. Sweepers come in many guises. O'Riordan has played that role for most of the match and then produced the goal at the other end, so just shows how flexible the game can be. And I would think any sweeper, Franz Beckenbauer included, would have been proud to have scored that one. Sedgley. Lineker. Draper, a nice turn against Naeem. Turner to Thomas. Turner again. Gascoigne was stretching, trying to make up the ground, and that's offside. And it doesn't look to me to be... That's Gary Lund. It doesn't look to me as if Gascoigne is finding it easy sometimes to make those 10 and 12-yard runs when he's trying to shut down the opposition. And there's no doubt that he is affected by this groin injury. Here's Stewart. Good play. It's got Lineker waiting in the centre. Stewart's cross. Lineker. Naeem. And Cherry holds on with defensive help.
Charlie Palmer did a great block on the goal line because as it was headed down by Gary Lineker, it came back out and the shot was definitely goal by. Superb chip to the far post by Paul Stewart. Gary Lineker heads it down, blocked, and as it drops back out, as you see, Naeem following up and Charlie Palmer slid in and blocked it.
So Spurs denied the equaliser. Good break by Paul Stewart, though, down the right. Here's Harding for Notts County, and it's Bartlett offside. So Palmer back to help his goalkeeper. And Notts County remain 1 goal in front. Here's Pat Vandenhout. Drilled in for Gascoigne. Lineker. Naeem.
Although that nearly created that situation where Pat Vandenhout picked it up, 20 yards in County's half, is where you would expect fullbacks to carry it forward.
Well, here's Thomas carrying it forward. Deep cross towards Paul Stewart on the far side. Bit too deep, in fact. But a corner to Tottenham, nonetheless. And now Spurs need every bit of backing they can get. O'Riordan organising the defence. Thomas trying to flick it on. Naeem. And Steve Cherry still looking immensely confident. He was determined to enjoy the occasion after his heroics in the last round. And up to now, he's unbeaten again today. This is O'Riordan. Good long ball by him. Five minutes into the second half here at White Hart Lane. Spurs 0, Notts County 1. Is there going to be a turn-up in the 6th round of the FA Cup, or can Spurs pull it round? Foul on Lineker. Gascoigne to take the free kick. Thomas tries to get in behind, but Gascoigne was thinking quicker than he was. Sedgley. Naeem finding Stewart. He looks for Lineker. Still Lineker. It's Stewart. Going at Yates. Corner. Gascoigne to take it. Sedgley goes forward to the far side of the area. Mabbott's there as well. Short to Naeem. Oh, it's got in! Off short, I think, number 4. Naeem will probably claim it. Spurs have equalised. It was Naeem's shot, but I think it went in off number 4. Poor Craig Short. Naeem makes room to drive it. And that, yes, it's in off the post as well. An agonising goal for Notts County, but a priceless one for Spurs. Off short, off the post, and in the net. It's 1-1.
Well, no emotion on that face there, Terry Venables, but just a piece of luck that your side needs when you're 1-0 down, and that was their best spell of the game. It was very crucial opening 10-minute spell of this half. They needed to get all level. And Naeem's shot just catching poor old Craig Short's heel, came in off the post, and County have got to be... They've got to emphasise, I think Neil Warnock shouted to his side, now don't get rattled, just stay composed, we're all square, still plenty to play for.
Well, Spurs needed a break, and they've got one. Draper for Notts County. Turner heads on. Well, this should be a tremendous second half now. Pat Vandenhout for Spurs. Well, Notts County just losing the place a little there. The throw was actually taken and didn't even enter the field of play, so it's a Tottenham throw now. But there's a buzz going around the ground. Here's Dustin Edinburgh. Do you think Naeem will want to claim that one, Trevor?
Oh, it's a forwards goal. I mean, you know, defenders, ricochets such as that, they have a key part, because the ball wouldn't have gone in the net without the deflection, but it has to go down as a Naeem goal. No way Craig Short wants to be on the score sheet, but that's the bit of luck that happens in situations, and now I say County have got to compose themselves. They were just being came back in their own half, had a bit of pressure. They've conceded the goal. Now they've got to go back to what they were doing in those opening 45 minutes.
So 1-1. And a lot to look forward to, I would say. Yates. Well, the longer it went on, the more difficult it would have been, but that has certainly turned the match more Tottenham's way. If this match was drawn, incidentally, there would be a replay at Meadow Lane on Wednesday, which is something Spurs wouldn't relish, so they'll have to push on here as the home side and take the game to County as much as they can. Here's Naeem again. Lineker now. Ten minutes gone in the second half. Van den Hauwe for Spurs. Going to take it. Oh, that came off O'Riordan. Gary Mabbutt still up with the attack here. Support from Naeem again. And that was a challenge by Draper on Naeem. And things are starting to go Tottenham's way here. A free kick in a dangerous position. Gascoigne placing it. Stewart and Lineker the nearest in on the 6-yard box. Mabbutt coming up now. All to no avail.
Gascoigne going for the shot come cross. Too high though. Going for another repeat of Naeem. If ball goes across hard enough and low enough, it can always ricochet off somebody and fly in the net, but not when it goes in at that height.
Here's Draper. Well, if Notts County were to be successful in reaching the playoffs this season and then do as they did last year and win them, they could find themselves in First Division company every week next season. So it's a good test for them in every sense as Gascoigne takes the free kick and Cherry comes to collect.
It's about the third or fourth time that Paul Gascoigne's taken a free kick very deep in his own half, and you wonder why it just doesn't leave one of the back players to take it, and he'd push up in those attacking situations where he can be more deadly.
O'Riordan with the kick for Notts County. Half away by Mabbutt. This is Dean Thomas. Mabbutt gets in again, leading by example. Here's Allen. Good competitive stuff, this. With the prize a place in the semi-final. And it couldn't be more even, could it? Given away on the throw by Van den Hauwe. And that's given Notts County a chance to break here, and Van den Hauwe had to get back to dispossess Turner. Stewart. The crowd inside White Hart Lane, by the way, this afternoon, just under 30,000. Notts County did return some tickets. But in fact, it's not an all-ticket match. You could have come and paid on the day to watch this one. And those who have saw Notts County take the lead just before half-time, and Spurs strike back shortly after half-time. Throw into Notts County. That's Vanden Hauwe. Harding taking a climb on Allen. Gascoigne's header on short with Lineker. "15 minutes gone in the second half. So much, of course, depending in terms of Tottenham's financial future on progress in this competition. But, a chance for Turner maybe, or Bartlett, or even Palmer. There are plenty of players forward here. Offside against Bartlett.
Of course, the equaliser, now with just under half an hour to go, has sort of made perhaps Venables think twice about bringing on Paul Walsh before that, but now I can see Samways and Walsh warming up along the touchline. They're only level, and a little bit of a lull now since that equaliser, and I still feel Walsh should be introduced earlier rather than later.
Yes, I think he will come on at some stage. Here's Naeem. Movement from Stewart in there. Edinburgh's header. Gascoigne. Harding sticking to him, literally. And they both go down. Gascoigne got frustrated and fed up and pushed Harding off. Harding flat out. Well, I suppose, Trevor, that something had to give there in the end, because they've been shirt tight all afternoon.
Well, I thought they were having a bit of a smooch there for a while. As you can see, they're sort of, as Gazza just turning and he's holding onto his hip, and frustration then, you see the elbow from Paul Gascoigne, and that's why Harding's on the floor. However frustrated you are as an individual player, and you've got a marker sort of close to you trying to tug you back, you've got to let the referee make the decision. Paul Gascoigne mustn't be the decider and the judge and decide an elbow is the way to solve his marker's problem. And with the wrong referee at the wrong time, he'll find himself taking an early bath.
Well, we wait to see if referee Folkes decides to take any action after that incident. He's just had the one look at it, unlike the three times that we've seen it. But he's standing right next to Paul Gascoigne even now and wants a word with both players.
I think Paul Harding's got quite a nasty little bump under his left eye, which would have been, I'm sure, the result of that elbow. And I'm sure the referee's saying, look, it's a tense situation. There you see it. And that is one of those situations that, as I say, Paul Gascoigne is a bit fortunate to get away.
Well, it's clear enough from that picture. Here's Gascoigne. And it's out for a goal kick. There was always going to be something of a flashpoint there, but in the meantime, the usual Terry Venables double substitution, which the Tottenham fans have seen many times before. 2 off, 2 on. Mitchell Thomas and Naeem to lead the field. And to come on, Paul Walsh with the long hair. And with him, the midfield player, Vincent Samways. And I would imagine this means Paul Stewart dropping back a bit, Trevor, to allow Walsh to play up front with Lineker.
Yeah, Walsh will go up with Lineker. Paul Stewart comes back into midfield. Vinnie Samways as well replaces Naeem. But Mitchell Thomas, I thought a bit unlucky to go off. I definitely would have switched him to a full-back position and get him making attacking runs from there.
So the back four remains unchanged. And it also means that Gascoigne is expected now to see the match through. Edinburgh. Gascoigne's got Harding with him again. Forward by Draper. This is Bartlett. And Notts County force a corner. And they've certainly not been unsettled by the Tottenham equaliser. Still very much in it, the second division side, and they've got Short and Yates coming forward here to lend height for the corner kick. To be taken by Turner. And the man going in with the goalkeeper was Gary Lund, and it's a goal kick. We're 20 minutes into the second half here at White Hart Lane. It's Spurs 1, Notts County 1 in the 6th round of the FA Cup. Gascoigne. A little incident off the ball. This is Lund. And now a good turn by Draper. 4 up for Notts County. There goes Bartlett. They do get players forward well, don't they?
Draper's done well in midfield. He showed some good touches, rounded Vinnie Samways very well, and Vinnie Samways looks as if he tweaked his knee, missing that tackle.
Almost as soon as he came on, in fact. Here's Paul Allen. And the long ball looks for Bartlett. He's onside. He's ahead of Sedgley, is he? No. Sedgley snaked out his foot and just got the ball back. Important for Tottenham, that. Again, Bartlett's pace. An important part of Notts County's game plan. Here's Lineker for Spurs to Vanden Hauwe. Dean Thomas. Turner. Still the second division side want to come forward, but this is Edinburgh for Tottenham. Lineker. Walsh. Well, as you would expect, Notts County are treating this as if it was their cup final. And they're still very much in the hunt here. Spurs still striving to try and impose first division quality on the game, but it's hard for them. Sedgley. Turner. Lund. Well played by Allen. Gascoigne starts a run down the centre, being marked by Harding. There they go. He's got Samways behind him. Harding was the winner there. Palmer. Sedgley. And it's Samways. Now Edinburgh. Gascoigne. Vanden Hauwe. Lineker to the right. Walsh on this side. In the middle now. And the running off the ball was by Stewart, picking it up from Samways. Paul Stewart for Spurs. Good stop by Steve Cherry. Really good save with the legs by the county goalkeeper. Denies Paul Stewart. What an important save that could prove to be. Yates. Bartlett. And Spurs start to build again. Samways, who put Stewart in that last attack. And Stewart did awfully well. Vanden Hauwe. Short, but that's Walsh. Well, Steve Cherry having a great cut run. And keeping it going here. Paul Stewart has the strength and determination to go at the defence, makes room for the shot, but despite being on his way down, Cherry stuck out the left leg. Fine save. Sedgley. a Spurs throw. Stewart. Stewart coming more and more into the game now for Spurs. He's put Lineker in here. Allen. He appealed for hands there, Paul Allen. Not given. Vanden Hauwe with the throw. Well, with 20 minutes to go, Trevor, what's your assessment at this stage?
I think at the moment Spurs got control, and it's a case of Notts County being hemmed back. They're having to get numbers back to help them keep all square. Not really looking dangerous themselves going forward. I think Paul Stewart, as you mentioned, has done well since that midfield role. Whenever I've seen him since reverting to that, he seems more at home there. He just seems to have that little bit more time and space to do things.
But here with some space is Turner for Notts County. He's got Lund in the middle and Bartlett coming in now. Drop behind them both. And it was out of play.
It was a good position for Phil Turner. He'd be disappointed with that cross.
A foul by Palmer on Stewart. And Spurs will be looking to the two substitutes, Samways and Walsh, to put some life into the proceedings as the pace drops a little. Notts County yet to use their two subs. Here's Sedgley. Vanden Hauwe. That's Yates with Walsh. Free kick to Notts County. Walsh doing the shoving.
To be fair to Paul Walsh, he doesn't want the ball hanging and swirling up there, and a few inches below Dean Yates is not going to stand much chance. He needs it knocked into his feet where he can twist and turn.
Dean Yates, a player who's been watched by a number of First Division clubs. 23-year-old centre-half. And the flick on is offside against Bartlett. This is Lineker. Nabbert. Way by Yates. Every Notts County player sticking to the job allocated to him so diligently. Sort of performance you might have expected from this second division team. Here's Samways for Tottenham. And it's Gascoigne, but once again Harding was on his tail. And it's Samways, and it's Yates now. Stewart. Couldn't get it out to Allen. Away by Dean Thomas for Notts County. And as the minutes tick away, I suppose their supporters will be thinking about the possibility of a replay. 17 minutes to go, and Neil Warnock knows his team are still right bang in this cup tie. Walsh. O'Riordan, the man who scored Notts County's goal. Here's Gary Lund. Edinburgh. Gascoigne again, Harding clinging on. Gascoigne turns a little bit. Then goes down in front of the referee. But Harding gets on with it, lofts the ball forward. Well, they're still so close together.
The other thing, if it goes to replay, it must be some concern. Once you sort of stiffen up after a match, is the query as to whether Paul Gascoigne could then be fit in just a few days' rest to play another 90 minutes.
Well, really, that's all he's been doing, resting and playing. He hasn't trained much after games recently, I can tell you that. In fact, the medical situation there is it's not going to be a hernia operation. It's going to be an operation to repair a tear in the stomach wall, the same operation that Chris Waddle had when he was at Tottenham, and he was back playing in 5 weeks. So technically, Gascoigne could have an operation tomorrow and still play in the semi-final if Spurs got through, but that's possibly taking it a bit too far on at the moment, because Notts County have as much chance at present of going through as Tottenham. Mabbott. Just in Edinburgh with Bartlett. Free kick to Spurs, taken quickly. Stewart with a chance to get Tottenham moving. Walsh away to the right. Stewart loses out, and with 15 minutes to go, it's Notts County who break. Don O'Riordan. They're trying to stay onside, it's Turner, but it's Mabbott. And now Samways, the player's opening up again for Spurs. Good ball to Allen. Lineker in the middle with Gascoigne, Walsh backing up. Allen still, but behind Walsh and away by Palmer.
Superb pass by Samways, one of the best midfield passes of the day. He's got a very cultured left foot and he found Paul Allen superbly.
Here's Allen again, and it's Walsh for Tottenham. Oh. Well, how do you beat Steve Cherry? It either seems to stick or go straight to him, or the only way he's been beaten is by a cruel deflection. And here, Allen did the right thing. He pulled it back well enough.
Just behind Paul Walsh, he didn't get a lot of weight. A bit disappointed because it was a comfortable save for Steve Cherry.
Harding for County, evades the lunge from Stewart, then he beats Gascoigne. Sedgley, who came out from defence to get the ball. Gascoigne now, asking a bit of Stewart that. Too much, but Gascoigne's headed pass finds Lineker, and Walsh is unmarked on the far side. Lineker shoots, and Cherry saves.
Superb controlled heading pass, little wink from Paul Gascoigne. He knew what he was doing there, and Gary Lineker just pausing, wondering whether to play a square, and then sort of didn't quite hit the shot as powerfully as he'd like, and again comfortably into the body of Steve Cherry, who's played very well all afternoon.
Well, every Notts County player has acquitted himself well here today. This is Turner. And offside against Bartlett. Header by Short. Now Paul Stewart. This is Draper. Lund. They've got Dean Thomas overlapping on the left from fullback. It's still Gary Lund. This is Thomas. He's offside, though.
Dean Thomas needed it earlier there. Gary Lund drifted past the defender, but there was an option to play it early, and I think that would have been the better decision, although easy when we're sitting up here.
Oh, mistake by Yates. Was it handball? It's Samways for Tottenham, and Vinny Samways has put the ball in the net. But was it hands against Paul Walsh first? I think it was hands first. It will not count. Spurs fans were hopeful, as was Samways, but it's not a goal. The appeal was for handball, and the goal does not stand.
Still risky play by Dean Yates. From there, you don't want to just flick it back over your head, and it definitely hit Paul Walsh's hand, but I think Neil Warnock might have a word with him after the match, because if it had just hit him in the chest, it'd have been through, and then you wouldn't have got the decision.
So it remains at 1-1. Bit of a scare for County. False alarm. So the Tottenham team and crowd still very tense, because it looks as though Spurs are being taken all the way here. And it's the Notts County supporters you can hear now. It's onside. Bartlett. In the middle is Turner, being joined by London Thomas. Mabbott gets in the way.
Two or three occasions the offside has been broken by County in those wide positions, and on that occasion again Kevin Bartlett not getting in a good, so not making the most of the opportunity.
Again cut out by Mabbott, the Tottenham captain. Again the offside flag is up. Score remains Tottenham Hotspur 1, Notts County 1. Any latecomers? Don O'Riordan scored for Notts just before half-time with a superb shot. And then Naeem's effort deflected off Craig Short for the equaliser. 7 minutes into the second half. We've now got 10 minutes to go. And it's Bartlett up against Edinburgh. Free kick to Spurs. Samways. Walsh. Out for play. And poor Walsh almost founding Lineker. This is Edinburgh to Samways. Lineker starts another run now, further over. And he's got behind Short now. Oh, and the defender put it back. It was Dean Thomas who brought a save out of...
Magnificent save that was, yes, out of that Dean Thomas. Steve Cherry, that is the best save of the afternoon. Dean Thomas, as you'll see here, another cultured pass for Vinnie Samways. As Gary Lineker turned inside, I thought he'd hit it with his left foot, but Dean Thomas then came back with the tackle, and you'll see a really low-down save by Steve Cherry. As I say, the best of the afternoon save far.
Well, he saved Dean Thomas there, because that would have been a most unfortunate way for Notts County to go behind. Gary Lineker did the right thing from his point of view, but Spurs have now got to do some defending, because Notts County have a free kick. Short and Yates have made their way over to the far side. O'Riordan will strike it in. And Short comes in, and Yates! Gascoigne looks for Allen. Lineker's in the centre, the only one who is at the moment. Walsh coming up behind him. Still Allen. Off Cherry. Walsh. Corner. Well, you wait and wonder whether Steve Cherry will remain another hero, because he's keeping Tottenham out still. Vinnie Samways will take the corner. Paul Stewart going into the near post area. Walsh just behind him, and the two big players from the back wanted it deeper. Mabbott. I say bigger I should say, really. Here's one of them, Sedgley. Mabbott. Walsh. Sedgley. Gascoigne. Goal! A smiling manager, delighted supporters, and a goal scorer who seems to know when the moment is right in the FA Cup. Sedgley got forward following the corner. It ran on to Gascoigne, and he planted that with such precision that even Cherry could do nothing about it. Gascoigne, 2 against Oxford, 2 against Portsmouth, and now is it the winner against Notts County?
Notts County just looked along the line to see whether they might get an offside decision. I think you'll find Dean Thomas, the left-back, just about made it level, and Paul Gascoigne, probably the last player that wanted to have that sort of opportunity, and there he is again. I think you'll quite enjoy it if that stays the same scoreline.
And his father there in the middle of the picture must surely be a very proud man again here, because it looks as though Gascoigne may be writing a few more headlines. But don't rule Notts County out yet, because this is the FA Cup and all sorts of things could happen in the last 5 or 6 minutes. 2-1 to Spurs, the first time that they've been ahead in the match. Draper. Now there are some tall players who could make something of this for Notts County. Yates, Short and O'Riordan. That's Short, and it's now Paul Stewart looking for a way out. Lineker's turned, Harding. Still Lineker, he's held him off brilliantly. And Steve Cherry must have got a touch. Another piece of important goalkeeping. Denying Gary Lineker what would have been number 3 for Spurs, and that surely would have sealed it. I think Gary Lineker has gone as far there as you could expect anybody to go. It was a long run. In by O'Riordan. Turner, Draper. Good effort, but comfortable for Torsved. And Notts County, I think, will be making a substitution before very long. Neil Warnock has got the linesman's attention. It'll be Tommy Johnson, a striker. They've got to throw him on now, Johnson. It's do or die for Notts County in the last 5 minutes. It's 2-1 to Spurs here, and it's Draper for Notts. Tommy Johnson comes originally from Newcastle. 21 goals in County's promotion season, including one at Wembley in the playoffs. Could he come on, I wonder, and save this cup tie, in which Spurs have the edge now, and the crowd are singing. It's Lineker, it's Samways.
The introduction of Samways and Walsh, Samways in particular there, I think has given Spurs a lot more variation with their attacking play, and they've come back very well in the second half. Notts County showed a lot of courage. Looked as if they might be able to hang on in there. Neil Warnock introducing Johnson in a last ploy to get back into it. Goal scorer Reardon's gone off, and of course the sweeper abandoned in a last pause.
Well, Tommy Johnson's a lively player, I'll tell you that, and if Spurs give him a yard, he'll accept it gratefully, but for the moment it's Stewart for Tottenham. Gascoigne, whose goal seems to have changed the face of this cup tie. Notts County must have thought they'd bottled Gascoigne up. They hounded him all afternoon with Harding. But Terry Venables knows that Gascoigne only needs one chance, and that's really all he's had. It's the first time the Tottenham crowd have really let themselves go this afternoon. Gascoigne. Corner. Vinny Samways taking the ball across in no great hurry. They've only got Lineker and Walsh in the penalty area. Nobody's coming up from the back now. Gascoigne.
You fat bastard!
2 minutes to go. Allen, Walsh. Charlie Palmer away. Oh, that didn't seem necessary, really, from Vinny Samways. This has been a well-contested match, and apart from that little fracas with Gascoigne and Harding, the referee hasn't been given too many tricky moments by the players' behaviour, but Samways certainly fended his man off there. It is Harding, in fact, who's been in the thick of the action for most of the afternoon. Neil Warnock's team, Don O'Riordan there joining in the instructions, have really done the club proud, whatever happens in the next minute or two. And Spurs may still have some defending to do. On by Short. Coming up towards the end of the 90 minutes. Spurs lead by 2-1. Is the referee as Stewart goes down under Turner's challenge. Throw into Notts County, who may have one shot left in the locker as we go into stoppage time. Well, Notts County scored in the last seconds against Manchester City. Can they do it again at Tottenham? Short is forward, Yates is forward. There goes Short with Stewart. Gary Lund! I think it came off Gary Mabbott. But the referee has blown, and Tottenham Hotspur are through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, courtesy of the man who won them effectively. The 4th round, the 5th round, and now the 6th round ties. Paul Gascoigne came along with the winning goal 7 minutes from time to settle what, to Notts County's credit, was a really difficult match for Spurs. They fell behind just before half-time to a wonderful goal by O'Riordan. Naeem got one back, courtesy of a deflection off Short. But when it looked tight, with odds on a replay, the man who still really isn't fully fit came along once again, and there's no doubt at all whose name will be in the headlines tomorrow morning. Spurs 2, Notts County 1, and Tottenham join Arsenal and Nottingham Forest in the semi-final of the FA Cup.
Well, he may have his problems with his groin, but you can't keep a good man down, can you? He's done it again.
He did one good through ball in the second half and was there just at the right moment to win the game. At the end of a lovely Spurs passing movement in a tight situation. But there you are. He came good. He has star talent. His dad sitting watching the game, you know, must be overjoyed. But on the other hand, Terry Venables took a great risk, I think, in making that substitution.
Double substitution.
A
that
double
changed
substitution.
The game.
That's what Bob and I feel about it.
Walsh and Samways.
Gascoigne had broken down, you mean?
At that point, if Gascoigne has got a groin problem, we know that he has. If he'd broken down, he took a chance. And it was a masterly substitution. Far be it from me to say anything decent about Terry Venables on this programme, but it was superb. Well done.
Won the game, and I think we can hear from him now.
Paul, and you've done it for us in the FA Cup.
I seem to have a good run at the moment. I'm enjoying it. I mean, it couldn't have come at a better time for us. Lads battled well, you know, because at the moment I'm struggling a little bit. But I don't think I was struggling when it hit the back of the net. Like.
Were you struggling during the game? You looked unhappy with your injury at times.
Yeah, I was struggling a little bit, you know. But like I say, you know, I want to do really well in this cup, you know. Just watch this. I was unlucky. I mean, I just want to do well in the cup. I'm pleased the way things are going. You know, I'm hanging on with this. It seems great at the moment. The only thing I'm disappointed is that elbow with the guy, you know. I just must say, I mean, I didn't deliberately do it. It was an accident, you know, definitely.
Was that just a little bit of frustration, Paul?
No, I mean, about 5 or 6 times he was pulling on my shirt. You know, I want to get away from the guy. It looks a bit hot. It looks as if I deliberately done it, but I must say I definitely didn't.
Did you ask to come off at all during the game?
No, never. I don't like coming off, you know, but I'm just pleased we're in the semi-final of the Cup. Give Gary a word, will you?
Oh, you're doing well.
Well, what do you say about this fella?
Well, that's 2 or 3 of the games in the Cup he's got us through with vital goals. I'm losing my voice a little bit out there. It's hard to make yourself heard with the atmosphere like that, but no, he's done well. We all know he's struggling a little bit with his injury, but wish I could struggle like that.
Now, the pair of you have been doing so well for Spurs. If you can get a couple more results together, well, could be the FA Cup.
Well, let's be fair, it's a team game and there's a lot of players did very well today, right throughout the side, particularly as we didn't play at all in the first half, really. We showed a little bit of grit in the second half and came through.
At times people are saying it's a two-man team. What do you two think about that, Paul?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, I've been getting goals, but Paul Stewart's come in midfield. He's done absolutely brilliant. I mean, I've been carrying this injury for a while, and he's been doing a hell of a lot of my running back forward, you know, as well. I mean, I'm not one to take credit all the time for myself. I'll go in there, you know, thank the lads. The lads have got to take some credit as well.
You look pretty emotional out there at times today.
Well, my dad was up there, and he doesn't come off say as much, you know. But I was pleased to get a goal in front of him. Really pleased.
Gary, Spurs, yeah?
Well, let's hope so. They say the year with a 1 in it traditionally is lucky for Tottenham. Let's hope it continues.
Gentlemen, thank you for talking to us. Good luck. Thank you.
Bye.
The two big stars, they can't dare sell them, I would have thought. But Tottenham deserved it in the end, Bob, didn't they?
Oh, they played.
Yeah.
Second half was terrific. But the crucial thing was the tactical thing from Terry Venables. As Jim said, that was it. And in particular, Vinnie Samways. You know, I mentioned about Mitchell Thomas. Well, Mitchell Thomas went off, but Samways did exactly what I thought that Thomas was able to do if he'd had the ability to do it. And Samways has the ability. And Notts County just couldn't cope with it. And it was backs to the wall. And Steve Cherry played well, really. Could have been more goals.
Right. Let's take a look at the equalising goal. Remember, County were a goal up at half-time. Here's the one that brought Spurs back in the game. And you thought, Bob, that it was an own goal in a sense.
It is an own goal for me. I mean, I won't accept at all that that's Vinnie Samways' goal. That's not going nowhere near the goal. Naeem's goal, yeah. Sorry. There's no way that I would accept that that's Naeem's goal. That's got to be Craig Short.
It's gone through the legs again, like the other goal.
It's at least 8 yards wide of the far post. But if they credit to Naeem, well, that's a strange... You'd like that, I suppose, Jim, would you?
As a goal scorer of the past, yes, I would.
Well,
I would always
Short.
take something like that if it was given me as a present. And defenders don't want to be credited with own goals, so on
Craig
that basis,
Short wouldn't want it.
They wouldn't want it, but that is the fact is it would never have been a goal if Craig Short hadn't put it in.
Gascoigne mentioned the elbow incident himself there. Now, what was your view of this? He said it was accidental. It didn't look like it to me.
I'm not saying he meant to cut the guy around the face, but he meant to put his elbow back to get rid of whoever was chasing him. I mean, he didn't know it was going to end up round his eye and that kind of thing. I will accept his explanation of that. But nevertheless, he did that in frustration and he was going the other way.
I mean, he does have to remember that. It's not a mamsy-pamsy game, as it were, and the lad knows that he also was pulling and tugging hard, but at the same time he shouldn't have done that.
He had a pretty good game, Harding, actually, against him for a good part of the match.
He did
very well
indeed.
Yeah, and he got better as the game went on, really.
Yeah.
I think the man... I know we've all said wonderful things about Gascoigne, but I mean, the man who made that goal was Sedgley. I mean, that was the winning goal, and you just look at his part in it. Touch with the left foot there, flick off, goes in, wins it again. In fact, he could have got through and scored himself if Gazza hadn't nipped in and taken it. So, I mean, as Gazza said, let's give credit to the other members of the team for their part in it. It really was superb, I thought.
And no offside, was
there? No. I think I think Trevor or John Motson spotted it quite well, that Dean Thomas played him on the far side. We don't.
Here it is again, look. Yeah. I mean, this is a lovely passing movement, and he's got through. He's broken through the whole of the defence, and Gazza says, no, it's my turn to put it in the net. Before we forget...
The manager was pretty happy about it.
Yeah.
I think he nearly missed it.
Don't let's forget Mark Draper in the Notts County side, a superb player. He played exceptionally well throughout that game today, 20 years of age. Bob and I were watching him all the while, couldn't take our eyes off. A superb player for the
most skillful player on the pitch.
Well, there's one semi-final place to be decided, and of course it's West Ham against Everton tomorrow. These are the sort of goals those two clubs have been scoring in the Cup.
Later on, another of those mazy runs, and a brilliant goal from Slater. Pull the strings from deep, but now goes on, and will he get one himself? He should have done, and does! And now he's put Morley away with a magnificent ball. Oh, that's a superb goal!
Sharp, Sheedy!
That's 6, and that's a
Hinchcliffe. Shot! Yes!
Dreyer, Paris.
And that's a miss by Nicol! And Sharp scores his second too.
Oh, McAvenny's in. Was he held? McAvenny, is this three? It is.
Not sure that Tony Cotty's had a touch yet. He might get one now! Yes! Unbelievable!
Morley. Well, he made it look easy.
Hinchcliffe. Cotty! Unbelievable!
Morley calling for it on the far post. Quinn.
It's a good stop. There's a hand up in the air, and the follow-up gives Everton the lead.
Well, sort of goals that they can score. What do you reckon tomorrow on that one, Bob?
Hard one to call, really, because home advantage, obviously, for the second division leaders. But having said that, Howard Kendall's done such an amazing job for Everton. I think they might at least get a draw and possibly win the replay.
Well, there hasn't been a surprise in this round so far, except, of course, 3 goals on a Sunday. But on that, I'm going to go for West Ham. I mean, I think, although they've lost Morley, I still think at home with Billy Bonds they'll do it.
OK, thanks very much. Match of the day tomorrow night at 10:10. But today we prove once again you can't keep a good man down. Cheerio.
Here's one of them, Sedgley. Mabbott. Walsh. Sedgley. Gascoigne. Goal!
"25 years of football action from Match of the Day is featured on these BBC videos, and they're available now. Over on